Well, guys, are you enjoying Bidenomics? Is your financial future looking great? Are you happy at where you are financially right now? Most people aren't, and unfortunately, it's going to get much, much worse before it gets any better. If it ever gets any better the way it's looking, it looks like the United States is completely on a downward spiral, and it's going to continue into complete, total financial collapse. This article here on the Hill. Inflation hits 20% under Biden, pushing small businesses to the brink. On Wednesday, the country hit a sad milestone. Inflation under President Biden hit 20%. The dollar value has plummeted under his watch. The Bureau of Labor Statistics also confirmed that the Consumer Price Index is resurgent and growing faster than average wages. Means prices are going up faster than wages are. Combined with the weak GDP growth, this data shows the U.S. economy is re-entering stagflation. Historic inflation is causing declining living standards and a cost of living crisis. Under Biden's presidency, grocery prices have increased by nearly 1/3, and gas has risen by 50%. It feels like every daily convenience, from a turkey sandwich to handyman help, has increased by 50% or more. Yet Biden seems entirely out of touch with this reality. He's a politician. He's never had to go buy anything himself. He's never had to earn an honest salary. He's never punched a time clock. He's always been a lifelong politician as far as I know. So he's definitely out of touch with reality. He has servants that we're paying for. He has cooks, and he's waited on hand and foot because he is the president. He has security. So he don't know what's going on, and doesn't really care what's going on with the American people and how much trouble they're having as far as their finances goes and making ends meet from week to week. Yet Biden seems entirely out of touch with this reality. In a recent CNN interview, he responded to these inflation numbers by claiming they have the money to spend. In reality, it now costs the average American family $12,000 more to maintain the same standard of living as before President Biden took office. $12,000 more a year to maintain the same standard of living as before Biden took office. That is huge. Biden also tried to deflect from his consumer pain by claiming he inherited high inflation. In fact, inflation was 1.4% when he took office. So that's a huge jump since Joe Biden took office as far as inflation goes. And you're feeling this when you spend and buy anything right now. You're feeling the inflation because of Bidenomics and because of endless, unchecked money printing. And it's the Republicans and the Democrats are all in it together. The Congress, the Senate, the executive branch, they're all spend, and that's what's raising prices through inflation. And they will blame it on everything else. They will say they inherited it. Joe Biden has said that. Like he said in the article right there, they will also say that it's because of greedy businesses raising their prices, but that is simply not the case. It is the fact that they've been on a money printing spree and printing as fast as they can possibly print and spend, or going in debt. Credit card delinquencies surge. Almost 1 in 5 users maxed out. I talked about this about 3 years ago, actually, when I was standing down there in front of my chicken coop. And I was talking about the fact that the American people would max their credit cards out to keep their standard of living up because they don't want to cut back any. They want to live to a certain standard they got used to, and they will max their credit cards out. And I said this, like I said, right down there, to keep that standard of living up. Now, they've maxed out, and they have nowhere else to go. The credit limit has pretty much been hit. So now they're going to have to lower their standard of living, and plus, at this point, now they're in credit card debt, which has high interest rates, obviously. Credit card delinquencies are on the rise, as research from the New York Federal Reserve shows nearly a fifth of borrowers are maxed out. According to the new report issued by the Bank Center for Microeconomic Data, household debt rose by 1.1% or $184 billion in the first quarter of the year, bringing the total to $17.69 trillion. $17.69 trillion in consumer debt. That is huge, and that is unsustainable in my opinion. The economy, guys, is in a huge mess. Inflation puts more retirees at risk of running out of money, and that's because people who have retired, most of those people are drawing a set income through their Social Security, and they're having to stretch it out, and the increases in payments aren't matching the increasing prices. So they're running out of money. And even people who have put back in savings, their savings are running out. People put back in their 401ks and their retirement funds. They're having to dig into those to actually live, to keep the same standard of living up. And they're pretty much reaching the breaking point and can't do this any longer. America is running out of money and no one cares. Investing in America. And there's old Joe, looking all like a genius, man. You can tell he is a genius by looking at him. He has the wheels turning in his little brain. An economic specter haunts America. It's also one that many American politicians, Republican and Democrat, and that's the key right there. Republicans and Democrats, they're both responsible for all this. Republican and Democrats say a great deal about, but are reluctant to address. Kicking the can on down the road is what they've done for years. And now it's coming to an end, and they can't do it any longer. It's going to result in hyperinflation, crash of the dollar, complete economic collapse. I hope you're prepared for it to happen, because it is coming, guys. It is absolutely 100%, in my opinion, coming. The name of that shadow is the United States national debt. What the U.S. Treasury Department defines as the amount of money the federal government has borrowed to cover the outstanding balance of expenses incurred over time. If you go to the Treasury's website, you can see just how big that debt is. This is going to get really interesting here in a minute, guys. In mid-May, it was $34.5 trillion. The pace of the growth in that debt is equally stunning. Now listen to this. Approximately $1 trillion is being added to America's national debt every 100 days. Approximately $1 trillion is being added to America's national debt every 100 days. And that is why you're seeing so much inflation when you go buy or pay for anything. The prices keep going up because of this right here. Approximately $1 trillion being added to America's national debt every 100 days. Meaning they're making this currency appear out of nothing with nothing to back this up. More currency in existence, and it's making the dollar worth less and less. So when you go to buy something, you're paying more and more. It is outrageous. Approximately $1 trillion is being added to America's national debt every 100 days. Can this continue? No, it can't. It's going to equal economic collapse. Homelessness skyrockets in iconic southern city where locals say rich Californians are moving in and driving up property prices. Nashville residents say they are increasingly struggling to afford a home as an influx of out-of-state buyers drive real estate prices up, leaving many with nowhere to go. And I saw that here in my county here in Tennessee. The home prices have shot straight up because so many people are moving here from out of state. People with more money, they're selling their homes in California and places for big dollars, and they're taking that and they're coming here and buying property and giving more than what the property and homes are actually assessed for. Now everyone is jumping on the bandwagon and trying to sell not everyone's trying to sell their home, but a lot of people are trying to sell their home. And these real estate agents convince local people, when they price their homes, to price those 2, 3, 4 times above the actual assessment value. In fact, my property here where I am right now, when I first bought this property, it was assessed at $133,000. Well, last year, they raised the assessment value of my home up. And now they say it's worth $260-something thousand, $269, I think it is, $1,000. So my taxes went up. So they're raising the prices, they're raising the assessments, they're raising the property taxes, and that's directly linked to everyone moving from California and places into these counties in Tennessee and other rural communities, and people are raising the prices of their property up because these other people are paying it. So the locals can't afford to buy a home, and the people who already own a home that don't want to sell their home is going to have to pay more taxes. It is sickening is what it is, guys. The way they're doing this, because they're just raising the taxes and prices up And local people can't afford to have a home, can't afford to buy a home, can't afford to keep their home and pay the taxes on those homes. And this right here is going to be one of the main last nails, in my opinion, in the coffin of the U.S. dollar and U.S. economy. New global currency designed to ditch U.S. dollar. Avert sanctions emerging as BRICS leaders prepare to meet. Other countries are dumping the dollar. The dollar isn't going to be the world reserve currency any longer. It isn't backed by anything. It's been backed by oil through Saudi Arabia, agreement with Saudi Arabia, and the U.S. military might. United States military might isn't what it used to be, and no one is really afraid of the United States any longer, apparently. And they're working together, BRICS nations, to dump the dollar, along with many other nations joining BRICS, and it's going to put an end to the United States dollar dominance. And all that inflation that the United States government has exported around the globe is going to come back to us here in the United States. And it's going to result in hyperinflation. It's going to get really, really bad. Hyperinflation, dollar collapse, Zimbabwe reality here in the United States, unfortunately. You may laugh, you may scoff, you may say, look at that paranoid lunatic on YouTube talking about the economy. America's economy is strong. I heard it on CNN. Joe Biden said it was the strongest economy we've ever had. It is not. Hyperinflation and collapse is coming. And guys, here's something else that we don't need right now. U.S. implements high tariffs on Chinese goods. This is going to raise prices on a lot of things in the United States, and prices are already rising because of inflation. It's just like they're sitting around thinking, planning, working out agreements on how they can screw the American people a little bit harder. A little bit harder. They can take it. Like Joe Biden said, we have the money we can spend. It is frustrating. U.S. debt clock. Look at the numbers go. $34 trillion and rising. $1 trillion every 100 days, approximately. And this, right here, money printing, spending from the Republicans and the Democrats, is why our inflation is so high. So guys, don't make the mistake of relying on elections, politicians to fix anything, because even if Donald Trump does get into office, this national debt, this massive debt, consumer debt, individual debt, rising prices, inflation, BRICS, it's going to all still be right there. And who knows, we may get 4 more years of Joe Biden and Bidenomics. But either way, it is a mess and going to continue to be a mess. And I would say by this time next year, we'll be in full hyperinflationary type situation. So you better stockpile food, medical, try to start growing your own food, try to become as self-reliant as you can, pay off your debts, get armed, get some paperback books, because the internet could go down and who knows what's going to happen. But you want to have knowledge in book form, and not just on the internet or on your cell phone. You want to be able to go to a book and look up skills and things you need to know. Food, medical, firearms, ammunition, stockpile silver, tools, learn skills to barter, because this next economy is going to be much different than the economy we have now. Look at, for example, Argentina. Look at Venezuela. Look at Zimbabwe. What happened there is going to happen here when our economy collapses, or some combination of, the three. But you can look at those countries, look at their economic collapse, how the people had to survive, and learn from it. If you liked the video, give it a big thumbs up. Thanks for watching. I'm the Creekmore Matt here, and I'll see you all in the next video, hopefully.